You are not a leaf drifting in the winds of chance. You are not a shadow passing briefly across the earth. You are the soul eternal, destined to walk the path of greatness, not by accident, but by choice, not by force, but by the flame that burns within this world, will offer you noise, chaos, temptation, and fear. But you are not of this world. You are of the truth of the inner realm, where silence is strength and discipline is freedom, where the soul speaks in the language of virtue, and every step you take with honor echoes beyond time. Socrates said, "Let him who would move the world first move himself," and this is the origin of all power, not in changing others, but in changing the self, to lead the self out of darkness and into wisdom. You walk a sacred path, not made of stone, but of moments when you choose the noble over the easy, the meaningful over the meaningless, the true over the tempting, and this is how mountains are climbed. This is how eternity is earned. Plato reminded us that the soul takes flight when it sees beauty and truth and justice, and when you live by these, not just in thought, but in action, your soul soars. Even in suffering, even in solitude, you do not walk alone, for every soul that ever dared to rise walks with you. The strength of Heraclitus flows through your endurance. The balance of Aristotle strengthens your choices. The courage of Epictetus fortifies your resolve. The soul is not measured by how loud it is, but by how deeply it endures. You need not scream your virtue. Let it shine in your actions, in your stillness, in your unshakable peace. When you are tempted to quit, remember that Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." These are the pillars of the soul, and they will not bend, they will not fail. You must return again and again to what is eternal, to what cannot be stolen or broken or bought. Return to self-mastery, to stillness, to silence, to strength. Do not envy the loud or the rich or the powerful, for their kingdoms are built on sand. Envy. Only the soul who walks alone and yet walks with joy, who has lost all and yet has found the truth, who suffers and yet remains unshaken. You are not weak because you feel pain. You are strong because you do not let pain define you. You do not let it rot your heart. You use it as fire, as stone, as shaping force. For the soul that seeks the divine must be tempered like iron, must be refined through struggle. Each morning is a sacred invitation to begin again, not to be perfect, but to be true, not to conquer others, but to master the self, not to escape the world, but to lift it through the quiet radiance of your being. Every thought aligned with virtue builds the soul. Every word spoken with love lifts the soul. Every deed rooted in justice shapes the soul. And in time, you become not a man or woman, but a force, not a shadow, but a light, not a name, but a flame. Aristotle said, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom," and this knowing is not found in books, but in being still, in watching your reactions, in testing your motives, in rising from failure. Without bitterness, your soul does not end where your body ends. It stretches across the heavens. It echoes through generations, and every act of honor writes your name in the language of the eternal. So walk now with dignity, with depth, with direction. The world may not understand your path, but the gods do. The ancient voices watch you. The sacred fire recognizes its own, and it will guide you step by step, breath by breath. This is your path, and no one can walk it for you. But you do not walk alone, for every act of courage, every choice for truth adds to the great song of the soul, and in that harmony, you will find your true home. Do not wait for the world to understand you, for it rarely understands those who rise above it. Your life is not a performance. It is a pilgrimage. It is not a race to win the praise of others, but a journey to embody the truth of who you truly are. Within you is an immortal flame, placed there not by accident, but by purpose, a divine spark that hungers not for comfort, but for clarity, not for applause, but for virtue, not for ease, but for elevation. Epictetus taught that it is not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. And so the soul must learn to see clearly, to strip away illusion, to meet life not with complaint, but with courage. You are not your possessions. You are not your past. You are the guardian of your soul, and your task is sacred to keep that flame alive, to feed it with acts of integrity, with thoughts of stillness, with words that heal, not harm. Do not let the temporary blind you to the eternal. Do not let the noise of the world drown the whisper of your conscience, for the conscience is the compass of the soul. It points you not to pleasure, but to purpose, not to security, but to strength. Socrates walked among the powerful, yet feared none, for his power came not from sword or coin, but from the mastery of his mind. He knew that the soul grows not by flattery, but by facing truth, by asking the hard questions, by refusing to betray the good. And so you too must ask yourself daily, am I living in alignment with my deepest truth? Am I acting from love or from fear? Am I led by wisdom or by the world? To answer honestly is to begin the transformation, for the soul evolves not through ease, but through inner confrontation, through the forging of virtue in the furnace of discipline. Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit, and so each choice becomes a chisel, shaping your eternal self. Every moment is a step toward the soul's unfolding, or its forgetting. Discipline is the language of freedom, not the cage of the weak, but the wings of the strong. For the one who controls his mind commands his fate, and the one who walks with virtue walks with the gods. Do not seek the approval of the crowd, for the crowd is often lost. Seek, instead, the still small voice within the one that speaks when the world is silent, the one that knows when you are betraying your own soul. This voice must become your guide, your fire, your anchor, when storms rage and shadows rise. For it is the voice of the Logos, the divine order that speaks through conscience and guides the righteous through darkness. Heraclitus said, "Character is destiny," and he was right, for your soul is shaped not by what happens to you, but by how you respond. And if your responses are rooted in courage, in compassion, in clarity, then nothing can shake you. The world will tempt you to react, to retaliate, to rush, but you must remain rooted to the eternal, to respond not from ego, but from essence, from the place within you that remembers the sacred flame. You are not here to win the world. You are here to win your soul, and that is the greatest victory, for it lasts beyond death, beyond time, beyond name. Every day is a battle, not against others, but against your lower self, against apathy, against false pride, against distraction, and the one who wins this battle, even once in a single moment, is greater than the one who conquers cities. The soul is forged in moments of stillness, in acts of restraint, in quiet compassion and unspoken truth, in the discipline of doing what is right, not for reward, but because it is right. Walk not in fear, but in reverence for the life you have been given, for the strength that flows in your veins, for the divine purpose that calls your name in silence, in dreams, in longing. You are not just alive, you are here to awaken, and that awakening begins now, in this breath, in this thought, in this choice. Remember this, always, You are the keeper of the flame, and that flame once lit can light the world. If you felt inspired by our journey through the Hellenic horizons, give a thumbs up, subscribe, and share your thoughts below.